Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Kimberly, it says we're
Come
live.
on, y'all, it's time.
Come on, let's go, let's go, let's do it.
Rolling on the road
Going.
with the doc. Rolling
Well, we are.
on the road with
Is it is it is it working?
the road.
It's not.
With the doc. 100
Some kind of way. Let's see. Here
I
we
can
go.
hear it.
Can you hear it?
with Dave and Dr.
I can't hear it.
All
Is it playing?
right, all right, that was cool.
The full phone?
Hey, let's go. That was
All righty then. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in. You are rolling on the road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. And I'm going to try not to do this, but my hand does this funky thing every time I say her name. But Kylie's here.
Woo!
And guess what? She has on a purple blouse today with matching purple earrings. And of course, she's got her beautiful glasses with the frames and a wonderful lipstick color to go along with it. And she's got that Wonder Woman, Linda Carter hair going on. Yeah. Like, dun, 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 Wonder Woman. Okay. And then we have Chaplain Micah. Hey, Micah. Bless the Lord. Yes, bless us all. Father, Son, and yes. We got the chaplain here who him and I have the same. We decided backstage we had the basketball heads. So we got the basketball head kind of going on here. And he's got a little bit of hair growing in, like he might be about 17, 18, trying to get a few little hairs in there. But he's a wonderfully handsome man here who's going to talk with us. And you guys know my heartthrob. Yes, yes, yes. And you hear that laugh? Hear that laugh? Y'all know that laugh. That is Pastor Dave. Yes. The ponytail has now come back. We're
Back
so
here hiding.
Yes, we're so excited. The ponytail is back. And guess what? He's all dressed up today, guys. He's actually doing official business. He's got a few things that he's taking care of. And we're excited about all that is going to come up. And he's got on a red tie. Of course, it color coordinates with my dress. I've got red in my dress. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to get his phone to stay upright and not have him look twisted or sideways.
Yeah, we're doing our best in the mobile studio.
Yes. But we are excited today. And I told them I already have my tissue, not sure what kind of show this is going to end up being. But we're going to talk about all of the specialty care that Interim Health has. And Chaplain Micah is going to be here today to kind of help us walk through it, because we're going to talk about hospice and respite care and veterans, congestive heart failure. There's a lot going on. And if you are a primary caregiver, I always say, you know what? What does that say down there? It says you are not alone. It's okay to get help. It is. Kylie, you want to get us started?
Sure. Would you like me to remind everybody of our shameless plugs to start out?
Oh, Dave doesn't have it, but yeah, go ahead. Let's see if I can do it. I don't know.
All right. Interim has two shameless plugs for you. The first is if you are a caregiver looking for work, we have a $300 sign-on bonus after you begin work, as long as you mention this show when you are being hired on. So call us, tell us you heard about us through Rolling on the Road. We will get you your sign-on bonus as soon as you are hired through. Second shameless plug is if you are a client in need of respite care for your family member, which we're going to talk about, there is a $100 invoice credit off your first invoice after your care begins. Again, you need to mention Rolling on the Road is how you heard about us. So Interim Healthcare assists clients with a huge variety of diagnoses. And if you go to interimhealthcare.com, you'll see lots of information on diseases and illnesses that we assist. If you click on the resources tab, we actually have caregiver guides for tons of these diagnoses like dementia, COPD, congestive heart failure, and many, many more. But I wanted to speak today on respite care for family caregivers, because we so often get the call from a family member saying, hey, I've been doing care for my loved one for years and I am burned out. And really what we want to be preventing is the caregiver burnout, so we can keep you at your best. And I asked Micah to join us because he is just the expert on dealing with family caregivers who are burned out before the fact and after the fact. Micah, thanks again for joining us today.
Sure. I'm absolutely thrilled that you guys are talking about this, because so often it's something that just floats under the radar. And a lot of it's because caregivers are isolated, because caregiving is just isolating, because you're home all day, every day with your spouse with dementia, or someone who needs around the clock care. And I think that lends toward the burnout, because isolation is awful for people. And I promise not to present anything, Dr. Kimberly, but the statistics.
You could do the presentation.
I'm kidding. But the statistics on isolation and mental health, I mean, there's a mountain of evidence that talks about how bad isolation is for mental health, especially for elderly people. So you combine that with the grief that goes along with watching a spouse or loved one decline, and you end up with like this tornado of burnout and emotions and all that kind of stuff. And so it's very relevant, and I'm thrilled that someone's talking about this, because I love talking about this because it's so important. But I can never find anyone who's talking about it. So I'm thrilled to be here.
We want to say hi to Jason Lee, who is watching right now. What if you are caring for a child that has chronic illnesses and you're at home with that child? Wouldn't you experience the same thing as if you were caring for a spouse or, a grandma or auntie?
Absolutely. Everybody needs respite. And the trick is preparing ahead of time and having a plan in place instead of waiting until you are burned out and completely past your capacity. Preventing caregiver burnout is what it needs to be. Whether you're caring for a spouse, family member, child, foster care child, whatever it is, you need to have a plan in place for respite care. We so often are told by a spouse, well, it's my wedding vows, right? I agreed to take care of this person in sickness and in health, and I've been doing it, and I'm capable of doing it. So why don't I just keep doing it all?
And I'm just gonna call out my dad, because, he was caregiving for my mom at the end of her life, and I said to him, you got to get some help. And just even if it's a few hours a week, and he was doing 100% of the work. And of course, I'm sitting here on the west side of Grand Rapids, literally blocks from where my dad grew up. So he's a west side Pollock through and through. And I said to him, he goes, I can do it. I'm all good. And I said, what happens if something happens to your back? Then both you and mom need care. So again, you can't stress yourself out so much and keep pushing. Whatever it's worth, he didn't hire interim health care. My mom passed before he finally got around to it. But there were times when us kids helped my dad when he had some issues. So long story short, folks, taking care of yourself helps you take care of other folks. Tons.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What I often say to those spouses is, look, I can hand wash all my clothes every day. I'm capable of doing it. Maybe I've been doing it for years, but I have a washing machine, and the washing machine allows me to preserve my time and my energy. So why not use it? It's that same mentality of, yes, you can do it, but if you have respite available, why not take it? And we really need to coach our loved ones into getting used to taking a break for themselves, because when the care needs of that loved one get really high, if they're not used to taking a break, it becomes an incredibly stressful time.
Micah, Pastor Micah, Chaplain Micah, Reverend Micah. Did I get all the titles? I think I got them all. We want to say thank you to Thurston Willoughby. That's Dr. Thurston who's watching us today. Thank you so much, Thurston, for tuning in. How do we know the signs of burnout?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So burnout is a term that we're using for a lot of different behaviors that come when you're past your capacity to care for someone. Another stat, like 80%, some estimate, of caregivers experience chronic depression while giving care. That's really high, 80%. That's
yeah.
The lowest statistic I've found is 50%. So even if the 80% is too high, half of our caregivers who are caregiving for more than a year are experiencing some kind of depression. So I would look for signs of depression, frustration, anxiety. Sometimes that shows itself physically, like suddenly I'm not putting on pants in the morning, or I'm not jumping in the shower as regularly as I should, or maybe I'm crying all the time, or maybe some people go inward crying, some people go outward, right? And they're angry all the time, and they're, the get off my lawn guy. So I think all of our signs of depression are good signs of caregiver burnout, along with those like exhaustion, feelings of being overwhelmed. Those are all starter signs of caregiver burnout.
And I'm reminded, though, back to asking for help before you start feeling the burnout, because, people, and it's not me, but like people who run and do that for exercise, they say if you wait till you're thirsty to drink, it's too late. And so you've got to keep hydrating yourself, and so are you hydrating yourself with that support and help from other folks? So
I love that analogy. Yeah.
That was good, Dave.
Why, thank you.
I think Kimberly might have a favorite on here. And I don't feel like it's basketball head guy.
Well, this is like, it is almost exactly our 4th year. Not to do that quick shameless plug, but we started in May of 2020.
Ooh.
All right, so you got some history.
We've got some history.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, we do. We've got about 10, 11 years worth of history. So Thurston says, great program. Here we go. Let's throw this up there. And want to say thank you to Marjorie DeCossey, who is watching. And it's about that time. We want to say thank you so much. If you are tuning in on GRTV 25, today is Tuesday, May 6th. Can you believe it? Wow. It is now Dave and I's 4th year of hanging and rolling on the road together. This has been a lot. And our guest today is Mr. Basketball, Chaplain Basketball. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Basketball.
That was a green room joke, guys. Actually, we have Chaplain Micah here, and we have Kylie. Oh, sorry. Kylie's here. And I think I can almost share this now. Dave, I'm kind of getting the hang of it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? Right here? All right. Boom. Did I do it? There it is. So I think if I make this big, you guys can see it better. Yup, there you go. Kylie, shameless plug time.
It's blurry on my screen, but here's our shameless plugs. If you are a caregiver looking for meaningful work, please give us a call. We have work available for home health aides, CNAs, nurses, medical assistants, dental hygienists, dental assistants, surgical assistants, physical therapists, you name it, through our multiple divisions. And you will receive a $300 sign-on bonus if you let us know at time of hire that you heard about Interim through Rolling on the Road. And if you are a caregiver, if you are a client or family caregiver of a loved one, give us a call to get some respite out there, to get yourself some caregiver services. We are honoring a $100 invoice credit for those who start care with us if their method of payment is private funding. Our number is 616-575-0216. You can call or text us anytime or visit us at interimhealthcare.com. And those promos apply in 15 counties: Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Kalamazoo, Lansing, and all surrounding areas.
Awesome.
Woo. Thank you so much for that, Kylie. We appreciate you so much. I guess this is kind of, a difficult one when we talk about hospice care. Does your family have to go into hospice, or can you do hospice at home?
We provide hospice to people at home and in community environments. Same with all of our services, caregiving and skilled home health.
What do you mean by community as opposed to home?
Assisted living, independent living communities, some skilled nursing communities. So if that is your home, we will see you there. Wherever you call home is where we will service you.
And this is aside from hospice care as well as respite care. So this is just regular home health care.
All of our care can see you in your home or in a community environment. Wherever you call home, we will see you for hospice care, private duty caregiving, or skilled home health.
Oh, wow. Now, Chaplain Micah, do you come out and do home visits, or do you just go to public?
No, what Kylie said is 100% true. If you call it home, we will do hospice care. And what I love about hospice is that hospice doesn't care how rich you are, how poor you are, your gender, your nationality. Everybody gets the same care. I've sat with millionaires. I've sat with people who have not a dime to their name, and everybody gets the same care because it's a government benefit. So I've been everywhere, and I mean that. I've been everywhere.
I've been everywhere, man.
Absolutely, and so we provide all the health care along with social and spiritual care in people's homes and wherever they are, whether it's a facility. And honestly, we value that ability, the fact that we can care for everybody regardless of income or where they live.
Okay.
What?
We do have a question from Maddie Robles, who is in Arkansas. She wants to know, what is the topic for today? Maddie, we're talking about the special services that Interim Healthcare provides, whether it is hospice, or right now we're focusing on hospice and respite care for the family, but they offer any type of care that you may need in your home. So she's in Arkansas, I'm sure they have an office in Arkansas, and someone can come out to your home and help you with your everyday needs.
Yep.
So I want to know, Chaplain Micah, how does someone access, you said that the government pays for this, how would they access your services?
Yeah, so it's a benefit you've already paid for in your taxes. And so we tell people it's not free. You paid for it. So all you have to do is call the hospice office, the main line at Interim, and an assessing nurse will come out and see if you qualify. To qualify, you have to have a terminal illness that you expect, or they expect to be terminal within the next 6 months. That doesn't mean you get kicked off after 6 months. That just means to get on, you have to have a terminal illness that they expect to be 6 months long. And then after that, everybody from the team shows up. The nurse shows up, the social worker shows up, the chaplain shows up, the bath aide shows up. And so we're able to give that support in all those different interdisciplinary ways. And all you have to do is call a hospice. It is that easy. I of course want you to call ours, but I always tell people there's a lot of good places out there. It doesn't matter where you get the care. Get the care because it's really, really beneficial. And like I said, you've already paid for it. So go get it.
And before it's too late is the kicker. We deal with way too many families who said, I wish I would have had this weeks ago, months ago. The level of support that comes in when you have home care is just phenomenal. And it gives you peace of mind, respite, education, comfort, so much.
Yeah,
so you don't have to pay for that personally.
No.
It
is an insurance benefit.
Is it Medicare or Medicaid?
Medicare.
Okay.
So like literally I've seen the bills. Patients have showed me the bills and there's all these itemized things and they always come out to zero at the end.
Zero.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
So they call interim. So I have a loved one who has been given 6 months to live or less. It has to be 6 months, not a year.
If your family physician says it's a year, it's still worthwhile to get them assessed because our people work specifically with terminal illnesses and your family physician works with kids and adults and, so it's always worthwhile to get it assessed, but yes, it's 6 months.
Okay. So my family member has 6 months to live. I call interim and I tell them, hi, my name is Becky and Tom has 6 months to live. Can you guys help me out?
So the next day, Nurse Luke will come to your door, wherever your door is. If it's within 45 minutes of Grand Rapids, he'll be there.
Okay.
And he'll take a good look at your loved one, their chronic diagnoses, all of their health history, their pain level, their goals for care. Everybody has different goals for care, right? Some people want to be pain-free. Some people want to stay in their home. Some people want around-the-clock care. Talk about goals for care. And if you qualify, you can sign up that day, and I'll be there the day after. And if you choose not to, that's okay. You're allowed to choose not to. But it's totally up to you at that point.
And then all of this goes through my insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
It's so easy to get set up. And we many times have had clients that we're servicing and they're going through a tough time. And we get someone from the hospice team on the line and they can be there within hours to give you that comfort, support, guidance. And not only do they provide people who are just angels, in my opinion, out at your home, they also provide you with medical equipment and supplies, bed pads, incontinence supplies, hospital beds, walkers, wheelchairs, whatever you may need in your home to be more comfortable.
And we cover their medications. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh.
All of the end-of-life medications are covered.
What are considered end-of-life medications?
Yeah, that's a great question. You're very insightful, Dr. Kimberly. Can't get one by you. So any medications that are curative, like dialysis supplies or medications, would not be covered because that's not end of life. That's curative. With hospice, we're assuming that someone has made the decision that they're at least willing to accept that they have a terminal diagnosis and this might be the end. So a lot of the curative stuff needs to be reevaluated. But all of the end-of-life stuff, like, pain medications, anxiety medication, depression medication, I'm not a nurse. I wish I was a nurse right now. There's so many different medications.
So does the caregiver get some of that too? Because they might need some anxiety.
Not legally.
No, I'm just saying.
But
Now,
that is the beauty of respite care right there. I mean,
Nice.
we work one-on-one with these patients, providing them.
I want medication. I want to go to sleep.
Oh,
I guess you have to go see your own doctor for
you have
that.
to go see your own doctor for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Dave is wise. Dave is wise.
There you go. No sneaking.
No, and that's the beauty of having respite care come in to give you that peace of mind to step away. It's, I think Dr. Kimberly, we had talked on the phone a long time ago, and I told you it's the memories and how you make them. Yes, you can spend every minute of every day taking care of your loved one, but how is that going to make you feel? Burned out, tired, stressed? Are you going to be taking care of them in the most loving way and presenting your best self to them? Probably not. And so if you're able to bring in some caregivers for respite through this process, you're now able to take a break or sleep at night. Something as simple as getting sleep.
Yeah, when I take one of their pills. Yeah. Okay.
So that you can be your best self.
Drug
After I
abuse is
take
not
the pill.
fun, Dr. Kimber. Nothing.
What happened?
It really is. When you are looking at a limited quantity of time left in life, what we emphasize doing is bringing quality to that. How can we put quality into a limited quantity of time?
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is allowing family education, relief, rest, the ability to take care of themselves, so that they can really impact that loved one with those remaining moments. We've had families say to us, "Oh my gosh, your team coming in allowed me to play card games with my dad. It allowed me to take my mom out for ice cream. It allowed me to give myself a shower instead of constantly stressing about the little things, picking
And
up
take a pill.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And I do help. I mean, one piece that I hide well is I'm also an attorney, and this is not a shameless plug for me because I don't practice, but in those situations, do you kind of have a checklist to make sure that the person kind of has as much as they can, kind of their affairs in order? Because now I know it would never happen, but if my grandpa had something, he would have promised the same thing to all 7 of his grandkids, just to be but in all seriousness, that, just again, making sure wills and things like that are all figured out with the family. Is that part of the checklist? Not that you would provide it.
Yeah, you're a social worker's dream, Dave. Because a lot of times what goes on.
I am married to a social worker.
Well, maybe that's why you have these insights. No, you're absolutely right. Taking care of stuff long before you think you need to is so critical, because when you actually need to, it's way too late, because mental capacity has gone. And if you don't have all that stuff prearranged, you're going to end up in probate court. And so our social workers work real hard to line up power of attorney stuff for people. But that stuff takes time. It takes sometimes court appointments. So the more of that stuff you can get done earlier, and you can give people advice on where to go for that, Dave, because that's not my specialty. But too often you have a social worker who doesn't have a law degree trying to help people clean up a lifetime of messes.
Wow.
Tell them where to go, Dave. Where do we go for help?
Well, I mean, I would refer people to what's called the Legal Assistance Center, which is at our courthouse here in Grand Rapids, Kent County, where you can get referrals to attorneys that do that kind of work. I mean, it is, it's like anything in life, call around, interview a couple people. You don't have to hire the first person you talk to as an attorney. If somebody says, if they try to give you the high pressure sales, shoot, that'd be the first advice to go. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely reach out and shameless plug for us. Dr. Kimberly likes to point out that we are a center for independent living. There's 480 of us around the country. ilru.org. There's a national map, and you can get connected to one of our sibling organizations. We have a list of attorneys that we get no cut. So it's not like we're referring you to people who've paid us to refer. It's just attorneys that we've come to know and trust through the years. And it's a list. So you can start an A or Z and work your way either direction. But just like the theme for this show, you're not alone. Ask for help. Ask for help if it's the legal matters, definitely the spiritual matters that we've nibbled on in today's show. What kind of spiritual matters to get yourself that house in order, and then back to just the straight up care that that interim does. And as we've heard, every aspect of that is available.
We want to say thank you so much for tuning in. It is now 30 minutes after the hour. It is 4:30. And if you are tuned in to GRTV 25, today is Tuesday, May 6th, and it is 4 years since Dave and I have been rolling on the road. We're excited about that. Thank you, Lee Montgomery, for tuning in on today. And we have a guest, Chaplain Micah, and we have Kylie from Interim. And of course, Dave and I are always here with you guys to help you through some of the hard stuff. And today we're talking about respite and hospice care. Many of you had to experience this alone during COVID. And so we know now that you can have help. Someone can come in, and you are not alone. You're really not. And you can't take any of the pills, but if one falls on the floor, it's that 5-second rule. And so, yeah, you don't want to get that to the patient. Just saying.
It's dirty.
Yeah, it's dirty. You can't do that. Lee Montgomery says hello to everybody. Thank you so much, Lee. And I do want to say thank you to all of those who are tuning in from the artist formerly known as Prince, called X. Yeah, that Twitter. Now they're X. So thank you so much. We're tweeting something that the tweeters like. So they've been tuning in faithfully for a whole month. So thank you so much. Keep spreading the word. Keep like, share, comment, and we definitely have an answer. We've got some great folks on here that we can and that there is always an answer somewhere. You may not like it, but there is always an answer. And I want to go back to Chaplain Micah. Can you tell us of one of your most memorable times of coming in and working with a family?
Yeah. I think the hardest situations are situations where there's what we call complicated grief. So maybe mom was an alcoholic, right? And maybe, maybe she wasn't very nice to the kids, and now the kids are taking care of her. And those are the ones where grief is just very complicated. And it's always very, it's very gratifying to call someone up after the spouse or loved one passes and say, hey, we have like a year of grief support available. Do you want to sit with a social worker, a therapist, or chaplain? And then to be able to walk them through their grief for the next year. The particular one I'm thinking of, the woman was positive that she had made medical decisions that had killed her mom. And it was totally false guilt, right? Like not all guilt is good guilt. Some guilt is false guilt. And so to be able to walk her through that, a lot of listening, a lot of talking, a lot of gently reminding her that she actually did exactly what the doctors suggested she do, and that she was there for her mom till the very end. And then to see her after 6 months kind of get her head around it and say, you know what? I did really do my best for my mom, didn't I? I got to say, yes, Sherry, you did. You're awesome. Those are those ones where it's like, you know, you see someone go from just despondent to 6 months, 9 months, a year later, living a normal, healthy life again. Those are some of the ones that stick with you.
Awesome.
And there is
I'm just saying it's amazing the support provided to families even after somebody passes away. Hospice care is not just for the patient. And I think so many have that misconception, you know, thinking it's just for one person. It's not. It's for the entire house, the entire family, everybody who has been a support to that person in years past. We had a really lovely family, and we serviced this husband and wife couple in the home, and then when they moved into a community there as well. And Interim Healthcare Hospice came into the picture while our caregivers were out there. And after the woman passed away, our caregivers reported to our office that the husband was truly struggling, feeling that false guilt. He actually started to believe in his mind that his wife's death was a murder. And I actually reached out to Micah, and he followed up with this man and mailed him some really meaningful, was it Bible verses and reading material about grief, Micah? And there was some really phenomenal follow-up from the family after that. So the support just continues and continues and continues as long as that family needs it.
And you don't have to do this shameless plug. During this time, please consider giving the gift of life and reach out to Gift of Life Michigan. And it does, well, ours is Gift of Life Michigan, but in any other state, it's still called Gift of Life, and it may have your state name preceding it or following it. But please consider giving life. And anyone can give life regardless of the age and regardless of the illness, with the exception of cancer. That is the only way that you can't give. But even if you're on dialysis, you have blood sugar, if you have, congestive heart failure, mental illness, it doesn't matter. You can give. And so please consider becoming a tissue and an organ donor.
Awesome. And check the archives for some great shows with Gift of Life Michigan. Dr. Kimberly did an awesome job covering that from soup to nuts, as we would say in the old school. Hey, speaking of old school, I got to run. That's why I have my tie on. So our shameless plug, we have our Absolutely Accessible Kent event tomorrow. So got to go schmooze some speakers. Be a hospital host. But
don't forget your assignment.
What's my assignment?
Remember.
All right, we're on it. Thank you, Kylie and Chaplain Micah. But Dr. Kimberly's going to continue to the end of the hour.
Nice meeting you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. All righty. And if you are available, please go to the Absolutely Accessible Kent. This is year number 6, I want to say, of Absolutely Accessible Kent. And that was just a group of folks, myself included, who some years before that, 6 years ago, got together for a couple of years to figure out how to make Kent County accessible for all those who have varied disabilities. And we've had some great speakers over the years. Unfortunately, I will not be attending. I'm still recuperating from surgery. And, but you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss it. What is one of your favorite memories of coming in? But I want to say thank you to Taz for tuning in. She definitely understands all of this. She has been a caregiver for her mother as well as her father. And so if her dad comes back this way, we know who to call to get respite care for her. So thank you so much for tuning in, Taz. What has been one of your favorite memories when you've come in to do respite and or hospice care, Kylie?
Oh, we serviced a married couple a while back, and this woman had to privately pay for care. It was a really unexpected cancer diagnosis. We started out doing just short shifts for her husband so she could get out and go to the local YMCA and do some classes. And I think that was really smart of her to start doing that from the get-go. Unfortunately, his diagnosis progressed, and we ended up doing a lot of care out there around the clock. Interim hospice stepped in and made a huge difference. She is one person I will never forget because she immediately saw value in having respite. And she really, really struggled being the spouse and giving up duties. And so I remember doing service calls with her weekly, and it was like we were altering our care plan all the time to try to do the care more and more like her until she finally gave up. Nobody's going to do it like me, but I still need to accept the help, right?
Mm-hmm.
After he passed, she mailed us the final check for the care because this was privately funded, and she wrote a note, a sticky note attached to the check, and it said, "Best money ever spent." And I remember, oh, don't I remember calling her and doing a wrap-up call of services and whatnot. And she had said to me, this allowed me to be refreshed, to be able to leave the house a couple times per week. And then when things got worse, leave the house for a few hours per day to go do her walking and do her class so that she could spend really, really high quality moments with her husband and not be running around trying to figure out the meals and the laundry. She left that stuff to us so that she could sit and hold her husband's hand and focus on making the moments count. And I think she's just a perfect example of what we strive for all of our families to be able to let go of. I know, Micah, you see this time in and time out where spouses can't let go of the idea of them not doing it. You know, it's like so many say, if I can do it, why would I bring someone else in? Or someone's not going to do it exactly like I do it, so I don't want to bring them in. And then they lose out on that opportunity.
Ooh, and take a deep breath. Ooh.
Sorry.
That, that is so understandable. And I think that we need to qualify the difference between grieving, mourning. And you want to be able to mourn and not grieve. And I think that is part of it. Grief, there's anger, there's resentment there, so much unfinished business. But when you've done all that needs to be done and you leave on a good note, you're just in mourning. And there's definitely a difference between your attitude when it comes to mourning and when it comes to grieving. And one of the things that I have appreciated in this year's time is I got to mourn my husband. I didn't have to grieve him. And we left on a really great note, had a great time, at the end. And I don't think I would change a thing. I don't. I mean, it went quickly, but he was doing stuff until the end. We were ourselves. Everyone doesn't get the opportunity to still, be up. Maybe they're bedridden when that time comes. But I definitely say if there is an opportunity for you just to spend some quality time together, do that. And if you leave home and you let somebody else do that laundry, let them do that. Truly, let them do it, because they gave my husband 24 hours. He lived 1,344 more hours, and we truly did not spend it, with some of the mundane things of life. We shared things that we like to do, enjoy. He had a birthday in that time. And I go back this morning, I got up and I watched the video of him dancing and us taking pictures together. I looked at the pictures that we took together, and the fact that we shared those moments. Wow. I can only say you're not alone, and let them help you. It's going to mean so much more. I mean, I'm still laughing when I think about he gave me a lap dance. I'm in my wheelchair and, just making everybody laugh that he's doing this lap dance on me. And that, I tell you, who wants to do laundry? Laundry, lap dance, I'll take the lap dance, come on now.
Oh, he sounds fun.
And then for him to do another dance for me, and he goes up to the bar and he's like, I don't know how to do the running man, but he's flipping around and shaking his tootie, and it just, man, I laugh about it all the time. And so it was nice that we did not sit and count every second of, okay, how soon, is today going to be the day that you die? No, we lived during those, 1,344 hours and laughed. And if we did choose to do laundry, we did it together and had a conversation about it. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Yes, absolutely. Play a game of cards. But just know that you have a great agency. And what is that? What's that song? You got a friend in me. Yeah, Buzz. You got a friend in me. And you truly do. I mean, it's been 11 years. And for you to reach out to me and say, hey, I remember when you were a client with us. And let's have a conversation. And here we are. We had a conversation. We are now on our, fourth show? Mm-hmm. And we have one more coming up next week. I'm going to miss you. But we got some other great things to do that are coming up that we will definitely be together. But Pastor Micah, I really appreciate all that you had to share, and talking about looking at some of the signs of that caregiver burnout. Start to look for the signs of depression. What did you say are the top signs? Any other signs other than that goes along with depression?
Yeah, personality change, right? If you're not you, you're angrier, you're sadder, you're not what you normally are. And then not taking care of yourself is a big sign of depression and burnout. You're not showering, you're not combing your hair the way you used to. Those are all, yeah, I don't comb my hair either. I appreciate what you said just a second ago. It sounds like you have a ton of peace with your husband's passing. Mm-hmm. And peace is the goal of mourning. You're never going to get over it. You're never going to get past it. But having a sense of peace with it, like we enjoyed it. We did what we could for each other. I served the way I could. I did my best. That brings a sense of peace. And that's really all I want for our patients at the end, is that sense of peace that you just described. And I'm so grateful that you have it, because hang on to it. It's rare. Peace is hard to find in this world today, hard to find.
And Dr. Kimberly, in your situation, you had happy moments and your husband was able to talk and be, mentally there with you. Micah, what sort of things do you say to family members who have sort of lost their loved one in a way years ago, like with diagnoses such as Alzheimer's or dementia, where they've almost been grieving the oncoming loss for years and years?
Yeah. I always advise people, enjoy whatever is left of that person's personality that's truly them. Because with dementia, personality changes always happen, whether they're happier or sadder or angry or hitting people or making inappropriate comments about stealing pills, whatever their thing is, the personalities always change. So it's hard to really enjoy that person for who they are. But usually there's something left, like a show that they like to talk about, or a gardening interest, or something that you can still connect to them in. Music is huge. The part of the brain that processes music is one of the last to go. So you can sing Amazing Grace with grandma, and she can't remember her kids' names, her husband's name, what she had for breakfast, or who you are, but she can sing Amazing Grace. And she can sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And she can. I love singing with people because you can access parts of the brain that no one even realized were there. So just taking advantage of whatever is truly them that's left, enjoy it. Because like you're saying, Kylie, you're losing a loved one in bits and pieces for 5 years or 10 years. And that mourning is a decade long, and that's a lot to wear on somebody. So just appreciating whatever you have left. And don't get frustrated if they're not eating, because they're probably not going to want to. Don't get frustrated about personality quirks. Let it go. Let it all go, and just, if you can, enjoy whatever it is that's left and really celebrate that. But in a caregiving environment, that's so hard to do because you just get caught up in all the caregiving and you kind of forget. So yeah, that'd be my takeaway. Celebrate whatever is still truly them.
I think that's why it's so important for us to encourage those people to take a respite break and bring in a caregiver, because it's like when they leave the house, even for 1 hour to go get fresh air and go for a walk, they come back and they're able to see their loved one in a new light. I kind of think about it because I have little toddlers that will just, they make you crazy sometimes. But if you step out and then you reapproach the situation, you look at it in a whole new light. And that's exactly what respite care does for adults as well.
That's a good way to
Wow.
put it.
I love that analogy, because sometimes you do. You just need to kind of step away from it. Don't lose heart. Don't lose heart. I know it's difficult, but be encouraged and watch this video, because it really is funny. There's a lot of funny points in there, and it gives you something to kind of laugh about. Old basketball head over here, he'll make it.
I was born this way.
Right? Yeah, but just go back and watch this with your family, and definitely it's something that will make you laugh. And we do need to kind of break that up a little bit, break up the seriousness and laugh, because laughter definitely will bring about a healing.
We actually put it on our care plans. It's a part of our home life enrichment program. We, when we work with our clients, we're trying to enrich mind, body, spirit, family. And so it's a part of what we do when we're out there. And so we ask people, what makes so-and-so laugh, or what made them laugh 10 years ago? And we'll make those little notes for our caregivers. It does makes
Watch Dr. Kimberly on your care plan for humor. Checkbox. Watch Dr. Kimberly.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you so much.
One of her guests. It's going to be great.
Say good afternoon to Daphne Gaddy, who just tuned in to the road. We are talking about respite and hospice care on today. And I tell you, I'm supposed to go and do comedy in Tampa, Florida, and in Miami. And I have to tell them they want to know how and why. And I said, well, life has gotten difficult. And, life got difficult for me. And 11 years ago, when I ended up in a wheelchair, I had to grieve that. There was no mourning. That was definitely grieving, losing the ability to be mobile, to walk, and to access life the way that I normally do. And so I just said, okay, Lord, you're going to really have to help me figure this one out. So when I started coming back to church, they hadn't made life accommodating yet. And they would put me in the very back of the church. And so when church would start and everybody would stand up and start praising the Lord, all I could see were everybody's backside. So the first thing I thought about was like, wow, why are all these 35-year-old women wearing 2-year-old panties? Just what's going on there? And it just got to be kind of funny. And then I thought about, when everybody is standing around and it's like 3 or 4 people and they're talking, that somebody and that it was you, but nobody wants to say anything. So just know that the person who's in the wheelchair, I'm at high knee level at all times. I know who did it. I know who the culprit is, smelling like raw sewage. I'm just you need to go get a colonic. Yes. And so that's, kind of how the comedy started, was that I got to figure out how to make this work, and I love how people just would walk up to me and grab my wheelchair. And so I said, okay, you don't do that to a person that you're standing next to. You don't touch them. So I don't understand why you need to touch my wheelchair, because that is part of my body. So every time someone would, grab my wheelchair to start talking to me, I reach up and I grab their muffin top. And they're like, oh my God. I said, well, that's how I feel. That's my muffin top. Don't touch it.
Valuable lesson there.
I'm just saying, just little things like they want to adjust my body. Okay, this is the way my body is because I'm in a wheelchair. This is how it, ended up after having the stroke, and the brain doesn't talk to that side. So it just own thing. And I've had random people just come up to me. They don't know me and they want to start adjusting my foot. And when you would do that, it would cause me to go into this spastic mode. And my body was like, "Argh." And then people would run off like, oh my God, I just did something wrong. Yeah, you did. I don't walk up to guys and say, I don't think that your bat and ball is correct in your, just since I am right there, I don't want to just go up and start adjusting you. Or I don't walk up to women, roll up to them and adjust them because they don't have on the right bra. I mean, that the left one is sticking up more than let me just, but that's just how it felt. And when you think about it in that respect, then instead of being angry about being in the chair, I started finding all the quips and quirks of life, and just really watching people, how funny they were, and some of the things that they would say, like, oh my God, you're awfully pretty for rolling around. I'm like, oh, you're awfully ugly for walking around. I mean, just, did I say that out loud? Did you just say that out loud? I would say, so are you trying to say that all people who are in wheelchairs are not attractive? What are we talking about here? Just.
That's brutal.
I think people need that, though. I love that.
But just sometimes you just stop and you think about, what did I just say there? What just came out of my mouth? Yeah, what just came out? Yeah. And me, I can blame it on the fact, look, I had a stroke. It's not my fault. Yep. I've had 5 head surgeries. Nope, not my fault. I don't know what comes out of my mouth. I am not responsible. So
I think what you're saying is good advice for caregivers too, because I think people don't understand what they haven't experienced, right? Mm-hmm. People don't understand what it's like to be in a wheelchair. People don't understand what it's like to be a caregiver. And so a lot of times people will say, you know what, I'm grieving or I'm mourning. And do you know what they said to me at church the other day? Or you know what they said to me? My brother-in-law asked me when I'm going to start dating again. Do you know how angry that makes me? And realizing that people don't know what to say, and when you don't know what to say and you start talking, dumb stuff comes out. And so having a sense of humor is a really helpful way to process that stuff, because if you let it make you angry, it's not going to go well. So humor is like a powerful tool as you deal with other people, because again, it's not their fault they're ignorant. So you might as well find the humor in it, because if you don't, it'll drive you crazy.
Okay, so I find the humor in other people's ignorance.
Please do.
Kylie?
It's like a gift if you can. I love it. I think a lot of times people need to hear the honest truth. We've had to have some very honest conversations with caregivers and clients here and help bridge the gap. Got to do it. Just people learn, and then they think before they say things the next time.
I noticed that, that commercial, Mom, are there times when you just don't smell so fresh? You don't feel fresh? And being in a wheelchair, I find that out because people go like this to lean over you and want to hug you. And you're just like, ooh, Mom, you're not so fresh. Just, like I said, you find out all the secrets in the trades being in a wheelchair. And you just, But like you said, find humor in other people's ignorance.
I have a question, Dr. Kimberly.
And I have an answer.
You have an answer? So
Yes.
one of the things that we very much emphasize in spiritual care is people's autonomy, right?
Yes.
So generally what I was taught is, if you're not sure, ask for permission. So if we ever meet, I'm not going to hug you. Which we will, probably.
Which we will.
I would never hug you without asking for permission. Like, do you mind if? And then you're allowed to say no. You can say, basketball head, I'm okay. I do not need a hug. And that's okay. And we're both okay. So it just seems like asking for permission, no matter who you're dealing with, whether it's the weird uncle or the person with disabilities or the caregiver or whatever, don't assume that you're reading the room correctly. Go ahead and ask for permission.
I like that. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to say, did you use deodorant today?
And I'm going to say, yeah, but it probably wore off hours ago.
Okay. As you can see, we have far spent our hour's time, but they will still play the whole thing on television. I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into Rolling on the Road on today. It is Tuesday, May 6th, and our topic was talking about hospice and respite care, and knowing that you are not alone. And if you are feeling kind of down and out, please come back to this episode, share it. Montgomery says, thank you for sharing your story. I always put God first in my life because life is not promised to me on a daily basis. Having a disability makes us different from the average person. Absolutely, Lee. I agree that we may think that our time is shorter than others. And so we live every day as if tomorrow is not promised. And I tell you, it's very easy to find the good. It's easy to find the funny in it when you do that. It really is. And we are down to our last show on next week. So tune in as we talk about community collaborations and how Interim goes out and finds folks like me, like Dave, that they can partner with to get the word out. And this has just been so exciting these last 4 weeks. And again, I think I can pull it up. There is, go back here, and I can click share my screen. Select it. Boom, click share. And we're going to do the big screen, even though this
Okay.
is Micah, who likes basketball. All righty. And this again is just talking about Kylie. Go ahead.
Right. If you are a caregiver looking for meaningful work, providing respite care to those who have been caring for a loved one who may need to get out and take care of themselves, that's an awesome job to have. And you will forever be remembered. And we encourage you to give us a call at 616 575 0216. Ask for a recruiter and tell us that you heard about us from Rolling on the Road, and you'll receive a $300 sign-on bonus. And if you are a client looking for care for yourself or respite for a loved one, give us a call. And if your care is privately funded, you'll receive a $100 invoice credit. We set up a free assessment. We get you in line with the care you need, whether it's private duty, home health, or hospice. Give us a call and we make it very easy for you.
Wow, what a great show. I've enjoyed you all, and please stay in the green room after we sign off. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Again, this period, we are putting a comma, and we will see you here same time, same place next week.